Good evening and welcome to episode 20. As always, we will start with gratitude attitude. So, if you would please gently close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you exhale, relax your body. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, relax some more. Take one more deep breath, and this time, completely relax yourself. Now, think of one thing that happened to you in the last 1 week which you are thankful for. Once you have identified that, think about why you are thankful for that. And now, let's make it free. If you are by yourself, say it out loud what you are thankful for and why. If you are with someone, tell it to each other. Okay. So, as the holidays are fast approaching, we're getting into the most stressful season of the year in the Western world. In, so, today I thought we'll discuss how to keep the stress at bay, and more importantly, how to make sure that you keep your mental peace amid all the chaos. Before we talk about tackling stress, let's discuss how stress originates in our body. Stress comes from trying to control people and situations. Getting other people to behave our way is not really working and is never effective. The only thing we can control for sure is our mind. There will always be things to worry about. So if we wait for things to settle down, we'll be waiting for eternity. Our thoughts carry us all over the place and they bring stress in our lives. If we gain mastery over our mind and thoughts, we find deep peace. So our mind is like a crazy wild elephant. Right? I don't know if any of you have been to Southeast Asia, especially Thailand, where they have so many elephants and they just run around in villages. And one gets wild, it will destroy everything on its way. It thinks about scary thought, it's just like that. Your mind will destroy, they'll think about any scary thought. It'll most likely never materialize. Someone put it nicely, anxiety and worries are misuse of your imagination. I thought it was such a nice quote. But we live in the real world. So there'll always be things out of our control. If we learn to control our reactions to our situations, we'll be able to avoid stress and bring happiness and peace. So, in that spirit, I want to share something with you. I found this thing called four quadrant practice. I'm going to share a document. I'm going to share my screen and let's see if one of you just tell me if you don't see this something called four quadrant practice on your screen, then I will have to fix it. So just let me know if you don't see that, okay, please. All
We
right,
can see.
perfect. Thank you. So this document is courtesy of Tashi Nima. He's a Buddhist monk out of Dallas, Texas. No need to copy this document. I will email you a copy at the end of this session. Those of you who are watching this on YouTube channel or on LinkedIn or who are not on the email list, please email meditatedenver@gmail.com and I'll email you a copy of this document. So as you can see, the very first quadrant is avoid. We want to avoid as many situations as we can that can create stress in our life. For example, is looking at our phone 10 times an hour really necessary? Once people start looking at their phones, all kinds of stressful situations arise. They say that an average American looks at their phone 96 times per day. 96 times per day. Think about it. That's insane. Going on social media all day is another one of those things that we can avoid. Personally, what I found helpful was to limit my social media interaction to twice a day. Right? I used to be just like everyone else, will check it 10, 15 minutes or every hour, whatever. Instead, twice a day. That's it. And another thing I'm really trying hard is I'm trying hard not to get into an argument on social media. I also started limiting checking my emails, maybe 3 times a day, and that's it. And it's different for everyone, right? If you are working, it's a different thing. But even when you are working, no one expects you to respond within minutes. So at work, you can set up a schedule that every hour you will check the email instead of keeping it on all the time. And as soon as it dings you, pay attention to that over what you are doing. So I would like you to go through this exercise, right? Look at all the stressors that in your life you can eliminate and write this down so that you can make sure that what can be avoided is avoided. The next quadrant is adjust. So we adjust our behavior to avoid stressful situations. For example, because I'm in a high risk COVID group, I started getting stressed out when COVID increased in the last 2 months about shopping. So we adapted this to 100% online or curbside pickup model for the last 6 weeks. No going into any store at all. And that eliminated all the unnecessary stress. For work related issues, you might want to limit the duration of meeting if that stresses you out, right? You don't have to accept every meeting someone sends an invitation to. The next quadrant is adapt. So if we first choice is always avoid. If you can avoid that situation, avoid it. Adjust it, adjust it. But if you cannot avoid or adjust, then adapt. We adapt to the situation that we can avoid or adjust to. For example, if you're not able to avoid a meeting with that annoying coworker, right? Take some deep breaths before you begin the meeting. Go for a walk if that's an option beforehand, right? So get your mindset ready for it so that you're adapting to the situation. And then the last option is to accept if all else fails, right? Uh, it's like a catch-all category. Accept that you have to take that meeting and it may go bad. Prepare yourself and change your attitude towards it. This is where our mindfulness practice comes in play. There is no reason an external situation should give you stress. So we train our mind. Essentially, that's what we talked about when we started this session, right? So as you can see, there are always way to stay out of stressful situation. We must make sure that the world does not need to disturb our internal peace, whatever it brings. At least internally, we must stay calm. Hopefully, with some practice, we can all experience that peace within. I would like you to do this exercise as homework with the worksheet. Nothing else, it will make you think, which is always a good thing. So, it's a very important thing. I think it's helpful practice, and we should try it. In our meditation practice today, we will use a new technique called black and white meditation. It's designed specifically for stress reduction. So first we'll settle down in our hearts as always. Then we will imagine that all of our stress is gathered at our heart in the form of thick smoke. And we'll breathe in light and breathe out this thick smoke of stress. I think you'll find it helpful. So let's get into our meditation posture. Those of you who are new, uh, try to sit down in a cross-legged position. If you are not able to, if you are in a chair, just make sure your legs are straight. Keep your back upright. Gently close your eyes. Open your mouth just a little bit. That will release all the stress which we are holding on in our jaws. And a real quick thing about deep breath. When you take a deep breath, make sure you take a breath from your diaphragm. So when you breathe in, your stomach goes out. When you breathe out, try to touch your stomach and your spine, meaning get every last breath out of your lungs. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, relax yourself. Now, focus your attention on your breath. Feel the cool air when you inhale. Feel the slightly warmer air at your nostrils when you exhale. Focus on your breath for about a minute or so on your own. Now settle down at your heart. Think about all the things which you are which are causing stress in your life right now. Imagine all your stress in the form of thick black smoke at your heart. When you breathe in light and breathe out this thick black smoke at your heart. Visualize it getting out of your body through your nostrils. Breathe in light all the way to your heart and breathe out all your stress in the form of thick black smoke. If you find yourself thinking some thoughts, just be mindful and come back to breathing light. If your thoughts have carried you to another world, please come back with us. Go back to your breathing for about 5 breaths, filling on your nostrils, and then start your black and white meditation. When you breathe in light all the way to your heart, and breathe out your stress in the form of thick black smoke. If thoughts arise, just ignore them and continue your breathing. Breathe in light and breathe out stress. Enjoy the peace at your root mind, at your heart chakra for the last minute or so. When you are ready, gently open your eyes. Before we open up for questions, I want to make a couple of announcements. Just one announcement. We will be off next 2 weeks, so we won't have live session December 22nd and December 29th. We'll pick this up on January 5th, I believe, uh, for live sessions. My studio is being taken over by my son for those 2 weeks. So, uh, with that, let's open up for any questions we may have.
Ajay, quick question.
Go ahead.
When you breathe out through the nose, right? Not what?
Correct. So you imagine that thick black smoke is coming out of your heart and going through your nostril.
Okay.
કે મોઢેથી કાઢવા I don't know ખબર નહીં મેં સાંભળ્યું છે કશે.
Now, so there are different meditation techniques,
This boy. Who is this?
but in this specific meditation, we do it through the nostrils.
In this one, if I'm not wrong, you did not ask to leave the mouth little bit open.
No, we did. We did talk. That's how we started.
Yeah, પણ મેં તમારો ફેસ જોયો તો તમારું મોઢું નતું દેખાય.
No, no. You keep the mouth a little bit open, and that's has nothing to do with meditation. Actually, that's just
It's
what
just
happens is when you keep your mouth closed, a lot of people keep tension inside their jaws.
Yeah.
So when you keep the mouth open a little bit, it releases that tension. That's all.
Yep.
That's true.
Okay. Thank you.
That is very true, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Mira,
Huh?
Mira,
Yes, sir.
going back on stress.
Yeah.
This is the sort of what I read, prehistoric situation for mankind, a flight or fight.
Fight or flight. Correct.
So you have always a stress hormone generated in your body
Right.
to fight the situation. And even that is today also true that when you have some situation where you have to react, your body react much faster than you realize. Something like that, if you are sleeping, like you fall or you hold something or you touch fire, your reaction is much faster before you realize.
Correct. So human brain is wired for that fight or flight situation, and that was true thousands of years ago when you were fighting truly your life. Right, a lion can kill you. Right, but none of us are in that situation anymore, and our brain has not evolved yet. See, so slightest thing we think it's a flight or flight situation, but it's not. Right, absolutely. I think I can speak for everybody on this call. Absolutely nothing in your life is life threatening per se. Okay, nothing happens we get stressed out about, which is usually it's not life threatening. Right. So what happens is we get into this flight or flight mode because of evolution memory, but there's no need for that. And that's why we need to train our mind that there's no need for those stressors, if you will. So that's why if we can use this quadrant practice, right, where we have these three things and then finally we have to train our mind, that's the real practice, is to make sure that no matter what happens, we are at peace. So that's this whole training is about getting away from that flight or fight response of your natural evolution memory.
And I will add one more thing, Mira, that
Please.
if you can control the situation, you don't have to worry. And if you cannot, there's no need to worry.
You're right. If you can control it, move on. If there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do anyway, right?
So don't worry.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's
It is great.
and that's the right way to approach it. I tell my kids, they're at an age where I said, listen, can you do something about it? Answer is yes, do it. So there is nothing to worry about. And if you cannot, why worry anyway, right?
Don't worry.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Any other questions, comments?
That is very difficult to train the mind. Why worry about anything?
No, that's the thing, Auntie, right? It is, but that's the journey we are on right now, right? For last 20 sessions, we are hopefully chipping it away. I mean, it's a huge mountain. I agree with you. And all we have is a chisel and a hammer. That's all we can do. We can chip it away one at a time, and hopefully we'll get there, right? Where we don't, we are just as a matter of fact kind of people. And I think it can be done. So
I think, Nirav, the other thing that I feel that the amount of uncertainty leads to worriness.
That's because you want to control the situation.
Yeah, yeah.
I was the same way, right? I wanted everything like, I used to say I'm running an orchestra, right? When I was in my business, everything was, I mean, perfect. Absolutely nothing will go wrong, right? But then, you're thinking, for a half an hour meeting, I'm thinking at least 1 week's worth of thought process goes into that half an hour meeting to make sure it goes perfectly, right? So what are we trying to achieve by controlling that situation?
I can't say that, Nirav, that what was the criticality of that meeting or what we think of it, or it's a question of my life or death, or I can't say that. But it's like many times it's a perceived prestige or the loss. It's a perceived, it's nothing real, but it's just, I
So
think that.
after the holidays, so there Buddha taught two things. Okay, he taught compassion, which we talked a lot about over the last 20 sessions, and he taught wisdom. Okay, and I'm going to talk about wisdom in next 3 4 after 3 4 sessions, where it's exactly that you talk about that prestige, you talk about that money, you whatever you want to talk about, right? Nothing's permanent, nothing stays with you, nothing's important, right? Sapan actually, Sapan Shah, he's on our session call. He told me an interesting thing, and I still remember that. When his uh, dad passed away, I went to see him, and he said, Nirabai, the asthi weighed 6 or 7 pounds, I think he said, and that was his weight when he was born. What a profound thing, right? That your asthis weighs the same as your birth weight, right? Everything else is just nonsense which we are after. So
It's
Is
hard to
it
digest,
always
Nirav.
true, Nirav?
pardon me.
Is it always true?
I don't know it's always true or not, but when someone told me, it
It,
just hit me. I was like, this is such a profound statement, right? It cannot be too far off, though, auntie. Okay, I don't think anybody's asti weighs more than 10 pounds,
Uh-huh.
and most babies are under 10 pounds.
Yeah.
6, 7,
Four,
5, 6,
five,
7.
six,
Exactly.
six.
So what did you bring it, and what you're going out with is the same thing. Everything else is nonsense.
Okay.
Anybody else? Premal, you want to say something?
No, I'm actually interested in that wisdom. We should do that. That is really interesting.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. It's we, we'll have to finish the compassion talk first. They say before you
Yeah.
introduce wisdom, finish
Yeah.
compassion. So that will take 3 4
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
But then after that, we'll talk about it's a very interesting, very deep
Yeah.
topic. But I'll try to kind of
And we should
condense.
do stress a little bit more. Maybe, try and practice what we talked today and see how it works. And then maybe we'll have more questions on what's working and what's not.
Absolutely, and email me the questions as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll be off for 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
then we'll pick it up again January 5th.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Nirav.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ankal.
Thank you.
Holidays,
Sir,
everyone.
Sapan, do you want to say something?
No, I just want to say thank you. No, I think the point Premal is making definitely, there are different type of stress. The people who are working definitely have that to-do list on their mind, always have that to-do list. And sometimes we over stressed about that. So I think one of the topic is how to handle some of those things where your to-do list needs some categorization. It says, yeah, this is not to be worried about. This needs to be worried about. But like the 4 quadrant line, maybe we can do something like that.
So Wayne Dyer has a very good 4 quadrant system for that as well, Sapan, for your to-do list.
Yep.
Where and it's been 20 years since I read this, but he says, is it important? if it is urgent and important, you take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So urgent, important, non-urgent, I mean, and not important.
Yeah, you're talking about Stephen Covey. I think.
Stephen Covey, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we are worried about not important and not urgent things.
Right.
So
Yes, that is true.
all right, guys, thank you. Have a
Yes.
great
Thanks a lot.
holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Bye.